Most kind of gracious Heavenly Father, as we come yet before you again, we thank you, Father God, that we're here this evening, Lord. We thank you, Father God, that you just allowed us to assemble a free nation once again. God, we just ask that you just bless this meeting, bless its members, bless all things that would happen, let it all go for the upbuilding of your kingdom, for your glory and honor alone. In Jesus' most holy and precious name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. 601. I've got a couple of audibles, but guys, number one will be the same. It will not change. We have Myrna Hill with 5 who is here regarding a resolution that we need to pass this evening for mitigation of funds to Elliott County. So, Myrna, the floor is yours, ma'am. It is.
Okay. I don't talk very loud, so if you can't hear me, just yell at me. But good evening. My name is Myrna Hill, like Judge Lewis said. I work with the FIFO Area Development District in Grayson. So we cover the counties of Boyd, Carter, Elliott, Lawrence, and Greenup counties. The last couple months we have been working on something called a regional hazard mitigation plan. So this plan is super important because in the plan, Elliott County's specific disaster preparedness plans and severe weather mitigation strategies and potential projects that they would like to apply for funding for through FEMA and other opportunities of funding through the government are all in there. And so I have a resolution for the magistrates and the judge to read and pass this evening. And this is super important because the fiscal court and I cannot remember your name back there have been working really closely together to apply for several $100,000 in funding, but they are ineligible for that funding unless this has been passed. So that is why I'm here today. There are 3 pots of money that includes generator projects, stuff like that. So if the power goes out, if there's another ice storm, I'm sure everyone in this room was affected by that somehow. Critical structures like the courthouse, fire department, stuff like that, have a backup source of power. We deal with a lot of flooding and all that good stuff, and not good stuff, I guess, but that sign sheet is also really important that you saw passed around. I'm sure some of you guys were wondering, what is this I'm signing my name, email, and information on, but we have to pay part of a match for the hazard mitigation plan. The cities and counties are responsible for 13% of the match for these grant programs. And every signature that we acquire is worth $44 per hour. So thank you guys for signing that, because the more signatures that we have, the less the cities and counties have to pay. We are able to 100% cover that matching fund with the signatures, and we are super, super close. So we might even hit that goal this evening with the people here. So I have the resolution that Judge Lewis will read and you guys will accept. But here's my sign and give it back to you. I'll send you a copy. So I have to have that.
As long as the fiscal court goes along.
As long as you guys approve it, you'll get that back to me, and that will be your all's official acceptance of the plan. I won't take up any more of your time getting into the nitty-gritty, but thank you guys for having me, and we'll get right into it.
Myrna, thank you.
Well, thank you.
I can't say any better to get where we're going. We need to get this. So I'll read this to you all in its entirety. It isn't completely lengthy, but it is one page. Whereas certain areas of Elliott County are subject to periodic flooding, tornadoes, severe weather storms, severe thunderstorms, landslides, and other natural hazards that have the potential to cause damages to people and property within the area, and whereas the Elliott County Fiscal Court desires to prepare and mitigate for such natural disasters, and whereas under the Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000, the United States Federal Emergency Management Agency requires that local jurisdictions have in place a FEMA-approved hazard mitigation plan as a condition of receipt of certain future federal mitigation funding after November 1st, 2004, and whereas the FIFO Area Development District Regional Mitigation Plan update was developed in accordance with the regulations of Disaster Mitigation Act of 2000 and the guidance provided by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, and whereas to assist cities and counties in meeting this requirement, the FIFO Area Development District has facilitated the development of a multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan covering member jurisdictions of the FIFO Area Development District, including Elliott County, Kentucky. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Elliott County Fiscal Court hereby, 1, adopts those portions of the FIFO Regional Hazard Mitigation Plan update that pertain to Elliott County, Kentucky, and number 2, vests the Elliott County Office of Emergency Management with the responsibility, authority, and the means to A, inform all concerned parties of this action, B, develop an addendum to this hazard mitigation plan if the town's unique situation warrants such an addendum, C, oversee the development and incorporation of the hazard mitigation plan under information into existing policies, procedures, and community plans, including but not limited to the local comprehensive plan. 3, appoints FIFO Area Development District Regional Mitigation Committee to assure that the hazard mitigation plan be reviewed according to the plan maintenance procedure, and that any needed adjustments to the plan be developed and presented to the Elliott County Hazard Mitigation Committee and to the Elliott County Fiscal Court for consideration. 4, agrees to consider any other official actions as it may be reasonably necessary to carry out the objectives of the FIFO Regional Hazard Mitigation Action Plan for Elliott County, Kentucky. There you have it. So if we have questions, Marina is here, Laurel is here, Jim is here, Robin is here. We've pretty much got the emergency basis covered at this point.
Who is on that committee?
This here is our the third update I've been involved in. And that's what it is. We've had this plan in place, and we've had meetings with Myrna and the folks at FIFO. I think we've had 2 or 3 in the last 4 months. And we've looked over it, made adjustments to it, what changes needed to be made, new hazards versus old hazards. And so basically what it is just an update to the existing plan.
And how long has this plan been in place?
It went into place 14 years ago.
Who is on the Action Mitigation Committee for Elliott County? You're the members.
Myrna, do you have that data?
I believe it's the emergency managers or I don't know if there's an official committee. I mean, there is, but I know the emergency managers and the other fire department chiefs, police chiefs, all those first responder and emergency management services are involved.
Let's do this. Can you go back, have some little homework, and let us know?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so I can get it.
I will say I'm not the main person who heads up our hazard mitigation plan, so if you guys do have any questions I don't have the answer to, I'd be more than happy to take that back and get back with you all.
Give somebody give me a shout tomorrow.
Yeah.
Basically, all you're needing is approval for the resolution on this, Russ, so it can get started, kick it off, and then once you're
Yeah,
ready, cool.
the court will have to make a motion to approve, and then Judge Lewis will sign the resolution. And then that is directly related to the resolution that you're holding. That's why I'm first, so it kind of flows together.
How do you need to read the resolution?
You can make the motion to accept the resolution as read, because it was read in entirety.
I'll make the motion to accept the resolution as read by Judge Lewis.
Second. A motion by Dewey Smith, a second by Chris Dickerson. Is there any further discussion? With that said, all in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
third time it's been done. Does it have to be re-signed after any changes or anything?
Every 5 years.
Okay, 5 years, 1 year.
Yes. So this year is a rewrite year, an update year. So we add in additional hazards that the EMs have identified and make updates as the year progresses, of course.
Okay.
Thank you guys for listening to my little spiel.
Thank you.
Grab that sign.
Thanks for driving up here today. All right, the audible, if you will, and I think Vernon's going to hang out a little bit for this, is Laurel. And for those that don't know, Laurel Matula is with ER Assist, and she has held her hand through the entire process, to which things have happened, and now things are getting close to the whole paycheck for others. And that's where Laurel comes in to help us navigate through this. So Laurel?
All right, so, do they have a copy?
They do. I've
Okay.
made a copy of each one of their stations.
So there's a copy of a resolution, and this resolution is you giving permission to the court officially and me to ask DLG, Department of Local Governments, for the local funds for the grants that we're working on. So specifically, as you know, we have 13% on all of our FEMA projects. This state legislature has given DLG $6 million statewide for them to administer for flood projects. So for our 4428, which was 2019 floods, 4595, which were the floods this year, and for our 4595 hazard mitigation, we're asking DLG for a portion of that $6 million statewide to go towards our local share. I have no idea if we'll be selected or how much will be awarded if selected. What I do know is if we don't apply for it, we may get, right, right.
But this is up to, not.
It's up to, yeah. I'm gonna ask for all of it, but they may award some of it. And how that number was calculated was the local share of 4428, 4428, which was the 2019 floods, the local share of 4595 FEMA PA, and then the hazard mitigation projects, the HMGP projects that we have been selected for and are currently proceeding in the application queue.
Okay.
I don't know if we need to read it all, like the hazard mitigation, or?
I can, if the court would like me to do so, I can read it, or you have it in front of you.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Authorizing resolution County of Elliott, adopting of a resolution of the Elliott County Fiscal Court authorizing the filing of a Kentucky local match participation program project proposal/grant application for up to $400,000 in local match participation program funds with the Department for Local Government. Authorizing and directing the Elliott County Judge Executive to execute any documents which are deemed necessary by the DLG to carry out the project, and authorizing the Judge Executive to act as the authorized correspondent for this project. Whereas Elliott County desires to promote and carry out flood control planning and mitigation activities on behalf of the residents of Elliott County by supporting the FEMA Public Assistance 4428, 4595, and FEMA Hazard Mitigation for 4595 project. And whereas it is recognized that LMPP monies available to the county for the purposes stated herein pursuant of KRS 147A.029 impose certain obligations and responsibilities upon the county and will require, among other things, number one, approval of a satisfactory application transmitted to DLG for approval, and number two, other obligations of the county in connection with receiving the LMPP grant of monies for the purpose stated herein. Now, therefore be it resolved this 21st day September 2021 by the Elliott County Fiscal Court that a project proposal / grant application on behalf of the county for LMDP monies up to $400,000 for FEMA PA 4428, 4595, and FEMA hazard mitigation for 4595 projects shall be submitted to DLG. The county shall provide such additional information and furnish such documentation as may be required, and the county judge executive shall act as the authorized correspondent for this project.
Laura, do you do the DLG, will you write the proposal to?
Yes, yeah, I'll prepare it all. It just, I don't have the authority, so I'll be the back office.
I'll make a motion to submit the resolution as read.
A motion by Dewey Smith with a second by Pam Fannin. Is there any further discussion? That said, all in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay,
You can, it's going to be a few minutes.
okay.
Well, I'll holler at you.
Oh, you mean don't run off?
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Hurry up and wait.
I'm going to put a number 3 on here, and that's just something I want to let the public know. I received a phone call from Warden Larry Chandler at the prison a couple days ago, and he requested to meet with me that day at 2 p.m. And said, we're going to start seeing things as allowed by Frankfurt, which means his supervisors, his superiors in Frankfurt. The prison is back to help us in many, many ways. So I've already got projects that I have in my mind that I want done in the county. Some obvious things, and then some more pointed ideas that I've got going on. Today, I received a call. Again, I did not know how fast this would work. Today, I received a call from the training manager of the prison, and she is coming Tuesday to our office to hold a training in the garage with doors open, wearing masks, well-ventilated area, to hold a training refresher course to which we have already had, and all of us at the garage, less the ladies, will be involved in that training on this coming Tuesday. So, depending on Frankfurt and the powers that be and the laws that govern, we will begin seeing those orange suits back out in Elliott County very soon. I just want to let everyone know that. I know the magistrates, all of you, I'm pretty comfortable or in agreement that this is something we need, is to see our inmates back out. So it's happening at the pace in which Warden Chandler can do so. And it was a very pleasant meeting. I was very, very happy. Okay, old business. Number 1, approve regular meeting minutes for August 17th, 2021.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Chris, with a second by Emily. Is there any further discussion? Let's sit all in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Let's have it. Number 2, approve special meeting minutes for August 24th, 2021.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion by Emily with a second by Charles. Is there any further discussion? Let's sit all in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let's have it. New business, number 1, acknowledge the clerk's 2020 fourth quarter report.
I sent y'all some emails over the past couple of days, and I did get this one too, I sent over. This is just where we stand on the 2020 fee account. This is what we've taken in 2020 and what we paid and what we still owe. Shane, I wrote you the original list, the one I'm going to read, see if you want to we just need to get this into DLG. It's late, but we're slowly making progress on getting caught up. So with the help of our auditor, Ashley, today, last week, she said, you really need to get that on the fiscal court's agenda so you can get that acknowledged. That's all we need is an acknowledgement. So that's,
What's that mean right there about accounts receivable by 12/31, obligations by both at the same time?
yeah, this is for your, this is your annual report, this is your budget estimate, and this is what you really took in to say.
So it's supposed to be in by December 31st, is what you're saying?
Well, that's the end of the year, you go by annual. Yeah.
Says you reported by January 15th, and is that what it means?
Yes, it's the 31st, we're on the calendar year, we're on the calendar year.
Yeah, because it says like submitted in the fiscal court, approved by January 15th.
Fiscal, yes.
Yeah.
You need a motion, Myra, to acknowledge.
In an acknowledgement, Johnny did recommend that we do a motion.
Make a motion to acknowledge.
A motion by Chris Dickerson, and a second by Brian Dillon. Is there any further discussion here? Let's say all in favor, signify by saying aye, please. Any opposed? Ayes have it.
This next time.
Sorry, close to that.
All right, number 2, approve to allow Sarah's Place to rent center to Northeast Head Start. Here this evening with us is Mr. Jim Gazay, who is one of the board members of Sarah's Place. Jim was going to come last month and had a bit of a flat tire, and we've got the flat tire fixed. But Jim, the floor is yours, sir, if you just kind of want to walk us through this.
You guys, everybody seen the letter?
Just a minute, I'll give it to you. You got one?
First, I do apologize for missing the meeting last month. Circumstances beyond my control. I know that my wife does not have a spare tire in her car. I didn't know what a kid did that. It's something to know when you go buy a kid. First, I want to assure everybody, Sarah's Place is not going anywhere. I know there's been a lot of rumors out in town. People are talking about what's going to happen to Sarah's Place. I'm here to address specifically tonight the child development center. When COVID came about, we had closed the facility. The requirements that the state put on us, we could not meet those requirements unless I went in and knocked out walls. That would have been a costly renovation. And after that, you're very familiar with people, they left, they got other jobs, so we're without employees. And then about 6 months later, they came in, they took our license because we're not operating. So that put Sarah's Place back to square one. Now we're in a position where we're reopening again, and we want to provide the services that was there before to the community needs child care services. So what we'd like to do, we were approached by Northeast Head Start, and they were willing to rent the building, give us an amount that's in the lease that you see there. I believe the lease is included in this as well. And once they go ahead, then they'll also take over management of the facility. Anywhere from if the AC breaks, if it needs a new pavement outside, needs to be sealed, they're taking care of all of that. Property insurance, the only thing really Sarah's Place is going to be, we'll continue the flood insurance on the facility. But this will keep the facility going, keep it upgraded, provide service to the community, and he'll allow Sarah's Place to step back, go ahead and get reorganized, and come back out into the community and look at, it's kind of like what the sisters were doing when they first came here, looking to see what the needs are in the community, what's wrong through the cracks, and where we can help. And that's where the Sarah's Place stands right now. I would ask the board, if you would, to approve this, so we could move on with these services and continue with the Sarah's Place mission.
And what is the intent for Northeast to do with that building?
Oh, what is their intent? They're gonna open a Head Start up, not this year, but probably, in the new calendar year.
So it won't be this year, it'll be the following year before
It'll be the following year, they'll take over the facility, once the court approves it, and I signed the lease, the board of directors has already given me permission to sign, we met, we went down the list and looked at everything. So, they will take the facility over, start taking care of it immediately upon signing the lease, and then they will start the Head Start service. When I talked to Northeast last week, they said they were looking at the coming calendar.
Be January.
Yeah, January.
Are you talking about little kids, or are you talking about?
Head Start kids.
Head Start.
Yeah.
3, 4.
3, 3, 4.
The ones that are in the trailers, they're in the mobile units now.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, they've been in and out mobile units in some time inside the building.
And how many do you anticipate being in this building?
We can, I believe we can hold it to 45.
In accordance with fire marshal.
And, exactly. We were looking at that, a couple weeks ago, when they first came.
And they're of full understanding of that, correct?
Exactly. The Northeast, that goes, wants to do a lot of certifications in these buildings anyway, so, they're well aware of the rules.
Will you continue to operate what you're doing now? Or will something stop? Or you have, I'm sure you have Head Start running now, right?
No, we.
There is not a Head Start in Allen County.
Yeah, there is.
So there's a Head Start in Elliott County, the service place, we're not doing anything in the facility right now.
Well, you understand certain places not, but do you think that's what they're gonna do, or?
Oh, yeah, from what I understand, they're going to continue doing what they're doing until they, get ready to move into the building.
Okay, I follow you.
Northeast right now is at Lakeside or Elliott Primary.
Right.
When the facility closed behind the school here, they also lost a room in Elliott Primary.
I knew they'd lost some rooms.
So they need space. This works out between Sarah's Place, who has the building leased from us on this lease agreement, to sublet it to them through a contract that they worked in, that you have in, I think you all have in your.
Yes.
What's the length on this lease here?
5 years. 5 years.
Is there any wording in there for an opt-out? Say 3 years goes by and they decide this just ain't for them. Can they leave you open back for 2 years?
No, there is something in there.
Yes, I think it's in there.
It's in there, but it's what the service place and Northeast has to agree on.
The lease would fall back to service place
Yeah.
anyway, and the lease to take the ball on.
Right. Yeah.
I'll make a motion, we approve the allow service place to run.
I'll second that.
I've got a motion by Chris Dickerson with a second by Charles Wood. Is there any further discussion here? With that said, all in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Congratulations, Jim. Yes, thank you. Thanks for coming over.
Glad to be here. Thank you. Appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's good stuff. Okay, number 3, approve the American Rescue Plan Act resolution. Is that with, Thomas? Is that this? No, I've got the one on. Here we go. Yeah, I've got it. Okay, Compass is a financial strategy advisor and financing aid out of the Lexington area. They have a team of attorneys. They are right now, Crystal, how many counties are they at last conversation? 30 counties have partnered with Compass to allow them, in a nutshell, any money that we choose to spend trying to use the American Rescue Plan Act funds. We submit that to Compass. Compass, their attorneys review this and give us their best counsel as to whether or not that is within the federal government guidelines of the American Rescue Plan Act funds appropriately. Basically, we're looking for a big brother in them. The fee is 0.75% per purchase or per investment, depending on what we do. So you can do the math. of the 1.4 million that we have and that we have not spent. Henceforth, any money that you choose with myself to spend using the American Rescue Plan Act funds would be approved by you contingent upon Compass giving them their best analysis that it would be an allowable purchase or investment based on what they have read into the American Rescue Plan Act allowance. This, to me, covers us in a lot of ways because we will receive audits on this money. And it's where it's to the amount that it is, it will generate audits coming our way. And I want to be able to have someone holding my hand to tell me how to spend government money to make sure that I'm doing it correctly.
Now, in my understanding, this right, it said that all expenses to be paid directly out of the SLFRF allocation upon disbursement of eligible funds, no upfront fees required. Bottom line, first page.
Yes.
We will pay them out of the American Recovery Funds money.
So the 1.4 million we have would be, there's nothing that would come out of our general fund or any other fund. That's-
It all comes from the allocated fund that this day occurred due to this year. Is that the way I understand that?
Say that again.
The way that it kind of reads to me is the money that we would get out of this, through this SLFRF funds. That's where their pay would come from, that 0.75%.
Yes.
Whatever that purchase is.
Not out of our general fund, it would be anything. If we didn't get a fund or we didn't get grants or whatever this is, they wouldn't get no pay.
Yes, and what would be approved at each fiscal court meeting would be on the last page there, it's an expenditure approval form. And it's like 3 pages long, the last 3 pages. That's what will be presented to the fiscal court, so you all can see the money, and we'll state where it's going on there, so it would be approved by you all. And then we would give it to them and say, here's what we plan on doing, and then they would say, yes, you can do this, or no, you can't. And just provide guidance on it.
There are two resolutions here, right? Oh, okay, so there would be a resolution per potential purchase. The initial resolution is this one that states that we would contract with them, correct?
Then there should be a resolution per expenditure.
That's the second resolution you'll see before the list of itemized stations that you go through. It says local fiscal recovery fund expenditure approval, and that would be that resolution.
And I'm assuming that their pay would be based, rather than on an hourly basis, on a percentage basis of the money to actually get out.
That's correct. Whatever that purchase is that you all approve us to go for. And if there's 6 purchases, it would be 0.75% per purchase.
Yeah, we come off of our 1.4 in total, it becomes per dollar spent.
Now,
If we didn't spend it, they don't get it.
They don't get.
That's correct.
if we don't receive the funds, then they get no pay.
That's right. You're trusting each other, because if we go without them, then we're on our own. If we go with them, we're going to get their best fiduciary advice, because they want to keep us coming back. And I want to make sure whatever money we're spending of that 1.4, that it's approved of all. I don't want to have to rewrite a check, and I don't want to have to give a deposition.
Make a motion that we approve the American Rescue Plan Act resolution.
Second.
Okay, a motion by Dewey Smith and a second by Pam Fannin. Is there any further discussion? With that said, all in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
You opposed? Ayes have it. Now, moving forward, when we identify, which we have already identified, and this actually flows right into, it's the next one, but it will be there, no? It will go before them, before you approve farther. You see what I'm saying? I'll come to you, or you'll come to me, you being a body, will tell me this is where we're going with this money. We'll talk about it here in court, and then the resolution will be based on their best counsel toward that purchase or investment, whatever that might
With that particular money.
be. Whatever that purchase or investment is, specifically, not another. Okay. Number 4, acknowledge other county tax rates.
Okay, in my packet there, there's a report on top, but if you look at the second photo, those paperclip photos, you'll see it's got Jennifer's letterhead, and it lists all the districts and their rates that they approve at their meetings.
So currently, we're just waiting, we got approves on tax bills today for us to look over. The numbers are in there, they're ready to hit the print button. We're just waiting on the fiscal court's acknowledgement/approval of these other district tax rates tonight. So they'll print tomorrow. And once they print them, it's up to Ray and his office, the sheriff's office, to decide which day they want them mailed out on. And we're on target, so people would have them in their hands by the first day of October right now. So that's what we're looking at.
And I'll just say this, with that report that was on top, you can look through and see what each district is projected to get.
I also, I think I sent an email maybe to all the managers too, as well as you, Chris, will just that report, give you some idea on what the county will take in, and the ambulance and extension, and all the districts, with the numbers we have now, that's what they do take in. And the tax bill should be yellow cards again this year. I think people are trying to get used to seeing the yellow cards in the mail now, they know it's their tax bill, so. They kept it the same.
So you just need a motion to acknowledge it?
Yes.
I'll make the motion to acknowledge.
Motion by Charles, and second by Emily. Is there any further discussion? With that said, all in favor signify by saying aye, please. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Open bids for Laurel Gorge upgrades. Now, we received one bid from Palmer, and this rolls right into our very first meeting. I want to then submit this as we go through this process to these folks, let them look it over, and make sure we're following this to the letter. You understand where I'm going there? I wanted to get this in order so we can sign that resolution, and then we would roll into opening this, me going back to Palmer, and then coming up with, based on that bid, coming back and discussing what we're going to do after that, and then put it in after Palmer is on board with us, if you choose to accept the bid, and going back and having that discussion with Compass and this other company to make sure that we're following that properly as well. If something needs to be changed, I want to change it. Because putting the sidewalk out the wall curves and putting lights down there and doing some other things that we're wanting to roll with here, tourism going, I want to make sure we're doing it the right way. And I don't want hiccups for anybody.
So you only got one bid to open, is that what you're saying?
They get my request, get 9 copies this time. 10. Boy, we're getting good at it. Like it.
They've got a good printer.
Thank you.
Big Jim.
I'll take my measurements.
Corps of Engineers wanted to know what our plan was. And so 5 of them come to the office a few weeks ago. We had a meeting, and it was discussed, and the Corps of Engineers said this: we don't mind you using the Corps of Engineers land. We want to know what your intent is to do with it and what you're doing. Every year, we get a notice asking us what the Laurel Gorge Cultural Center does. It's a simple form, we have to fill it out. If it makes any money, we turn in what it makes, and then we move on. That's as far as it goes. But the federal government wants to know, the Army Corps of Engineers specifically wants to know, what are you doing there? So whenever they come, the 5 folks showed up at our office that day, we started talking. It was not a abrasive conversation at all. It was a good conversation. But they basically pumped the brakes on this until we got a plan together. So then it goes to the Corps of Engineers realty. They have a realty area in the Corps of Engineers. They want to know what our plan was from overhead looking down through the curves initially. This is another one of those, as you go step by step, they want to know step by step what you're doing. So the last email I received was, can you give us a plan of what you have in place? And I said, I cannot until we get a company, an architectural design company that can walk us through this. So it's kind of one of those, when you move the car so far, you've got to wait on this car to move so far. Then you move this car so far, and you've got to wait on this car to move so far. So this evening, what you have before you, if you approve this contract with Palmer Engineering, we can then take this back to the Army Corps of Engineers and say, we now have this, now we'll start the design of where we're planning on going here. I've not read this, so you've seen this for the first time I've seen it.
Now, this is only for the design.
Correct.
And $59,000 is just for the design.
That's for them to design it. They are the state's, they actually, after you all approved me to go after these bids, and I spoke to them, the state has approved contractors that you don't have to bid services on. I didn't know this. I knew this about other processes. I didn't know this about procurement of architectural design and engineering. Palmer is actually one of those. And they said, do you still want to run this through court? We already, they showed me the letter where Frankfurt approves them to have that bid already in place. I said, the magistrates told me, I've asked for proposals, we're going to run with a proposal. And that's the proposal you have before you, and I have before me now.
And that's before the shovel goes in the ground, it's just the designs.
That's correct. That's for them to come out and they put the work you've done in the past yourself.
Yeah.
That. And then they have the graphics design systems that they'll come up and show us. They'll actually come to court if you want to, and they'll lay it out, and they'll show you what the next plan is. How much is it?
$59,000.
$59,000.
That's through our funds. Okay, yeah, I see. Survey 5,500, preliminary 17,400, final design 21,000, meetings 3,600, water line design 6,000, bathroom design 6,000, for a total of 59,000.
We can't move any farther until we have this in place.
No, we're because I can't, the county doesn't have its own engineering firm. Some counties in Kentucky do. We need an engineer. We need a design company.
Do you need a motion to accept this?
We have to before we go forward.
I'll make a motion to accept.
I'll second.
Motion by Chris, with second by Emily. Is there any further discussion?
One question,
Yeah.
where are we gonna pull the money from?
ARP.
Pardon?
ARP,
Art.
American Rescue Fund.
Think about the recovery fund.
This comes out of the American Recovery Fund. This is tourism.
That's why I was looking at what number would fall under, it's kind of curious.
Yeah, you can classify this under tourism.
Johnson County just did $800,000 for a bicycle park over there.
Let me ask you a question, and we talked about this when I listened to some other people being here, is could there be things added to this design?
This is step one.
Yeah.
Then comes the other.
Like if we want to do an amphitheater, so.
Yes, this is step one. To get rolling, we need, this goes back to the whole, this goes this far, this goes this far. And then we would go back to the Army Corps of Engineers and tell them our next intent.
Okay.
And their real estate would come back and they would want to see that design. It's,
It'd be under the 2.11 on that expenditure amount description for the tourism grant, travel, and all that stuff. But I think anything that we do out of orders like that, will be approved through the whichever.
I love it.
Because it helps people get outside, be outside.
I just see so much potential down there with that sidewalk, lights, and amphitheater, maybe even park. Kids.
we're going that way. It's just, it's these steps that you have to go through.
That's the government. That's just all there is to it.
Well, one of the employees, who I won't name, and if they have to watch this on TV, they'll probably snicker a little bit, said, we're the government. We're big, we're slow, and we're very expensive. That's what and if he watches this, he'll know exactly, and I'll not say his name, because he may live here in the county. All in favor, signify by saying aye, please. Aye. You opposed? Now, let me ask you this, we need to pass a resolution to put this before the company for their, right?
We'll have to do an expenditure for that, yeah,
And,
for them to.
all right, so,
We can do it at our, I think we're going to have to do this.
all right, we'll have a special meeting, and I'll put that before you all there. All right. Let's see. Number 6, approve to allow the judge to sign letter of intent for general obligation bonds for ice storm 4.5 million. Now, there's some paperwork.
Yes, and there's actually an ordinance also that we're going to ask for approval for. I go ahead after we had already made the agenda. But there's a letter of intent and there's an ordinance.
Which one you want to talk about first?
The ordinance is fine. It's in my code.
Be like a 6B.
No.
An ordinance approving a lease for financing of a project. Should be the same one. It's like the email I call it.
Yeah, yours. We'll roll with this. You all have this, the ordinance.
That's page 2.
The front page is this, I believe it says, ordinance number, and above it says FEMA project.
Yeah. Page 2.
Page, yeah. I think it's the third page.
Third page.
Sorry. Now, Crystal, you want to explain that?
Well, that ordinance is just allowing us to enter into the lease agreement. Yeah, that ordinance is it's an ordinance approving a lease for the financing of a project, providing for the payment and security of the lease, creating a sinking fund, authorizing the execution of various documents related to such lease, and making certain designations regarding such lease. In the end, I know it's really vague, that ordinance is, and I think they did that intentionally. But if you look at the notification of intent to finance, that will be, we are asking for 5.5 million. 4.5 is going to be drawn down in the current calendar year. And we've already drawn down 500,000 with the flood. So that puts us at $5 million for this calendar year, and we're trying to stay under $5 million, because that helps us with interest rates and such. So, the 4.5 million we're doing this calendar year will be for the debris removal. And then the extra million for the next calendar year will be for the hazard mitigation Yes. And then the interest rate is going to be 3.75%. It won't be due or payable until, I think it is 30 months. That will give us time to pay for the debris removal and get reimbursement from FEMA, and then that money's going to go to pay this down. So what will be remaining at the end will just be our portion.
Do we roughly know what our portion is gonna be yet?
I'm thinking about 500,000.
Laurel?
They collected all the donated resources volunteer hours, and they haven't finalized that grant yet, so it overall, 500,000 is a good number. It may be a little less when it's all said and done, but 500,000 is a good number to not be disappointed later. It's not exactly that, it's likely going to be less.
Does this include the potential low water crossing, or is that? Does this include that?
Yeah, that's.
The 500,000?
Yeah.
So,
That's the $1 million that she spoke about on there.
yeah.
That's what I was thinking,
So if we took a quick number of 10% instead of 13%, it's a little bit easier to do the quick math in the head and then, just round up a little bit. But we have a debris project, then we have our donated resources, then we have some interesting kind of math that happens because we have the road department did a lot of work, and so we're going to be reimbursed for the road department, and so that came out of your general fund, and so you'll actually be getting that money back, so that can actually go back to your general fund, or it can go towards that offset of the contract costs. Most counties put it an offset of their contract costs. So when that's all said and done, and your donated resources for the debris, we may be down under, well under 100,000. So then all we have is the local share of the hazard mitigation, which is the low water crossings. And because that's flood, then we could use the DLG money, may offset that. Then we have the local share for the flood projects, the rail cribbing and the culverts for this year. Depending on how much we get from those DLG funds, that could offset that as well. It's possible that all that we're going to be coming out of pocket at the very, very end is $50,000 or $100,000. But if we don't get
So you don't break my heart, you're just gonna go ahead and say $500,000.
Right, and then, you're like, oh, we got extra money.
So we can quote you on the 50.
Right, so what I heard was it's free, like, no.
Charles, that's what I heard, that's what you heard.
That's what I'm getting out of this.
I make the motion, sign it for that.
Second.
A motion by Charles and second by Judy. Is there any further discussion there?
Could I pipe up one more? Yeah.
Go ahead, Laura.
Within the FEMA PA program, the interest is reimbursable as well. Within FEMA hazard mitigation, I don't know the final rule on that, and you're like, wait, isn't that your industry? Isn't that what you... They change the rules every day, like, just for fun. No, or it feels like it anyway. So I know for sure that within the FEMA PA, if we pay the interest on the debris or if we end up putting some of the rail cribbing contractors on that line of credit and we generate interest, we can apply that toward the grant at the end. Most counties, by the time we figure out how much exactly it was for each project to ask for that, you're like, never mind, we'll just pay that $106 and we'll call it good, because it will take us $600 to figure out how to ask for the $100. So, but if it gets to a point that it's very, very uncomfortable and we've generated a lot of interest, then we can get it reimbursed.
Okay.
I was just going to let the board know that this will require approval by the state local debt officer, because it is over 500,000, and anything over that amount, we have to get approval for them. And we'll have a hearing regarding that. But just wanted to let you know.
I want to say for you folks that, well, and the folks that are listening, and I did send this in an email to you magistrates. Jim said it best, with every disaster, there becomes an opportunity. In this disaster, we had a chance, us as a fiscal court, Jim and the ladies, we have a chance here to repair or replace, I'm sorry, not repair, replace 3 low water crossings in this county on county maintained roads. Carter Ford is one of those roads. I'm extremely excited because that is a headache of big proportions for anyone sitting in Brian's seat, Chris's seat, my seat especially, because we are down to 2 working tile on that low water crossing, and that bridge has shifted, and the left side, if you're going from the Brown Ridge side to the Star Ridge side, it is falling. We're going to lose that bridge. And we have the ability within this to use this disaster to help mitigate, to make sure that what we go back with, that doesn't happen for many, many years to come. So it is an expensive project, but it's also an immense savings on the taxpayer if we could get this pushed through and get it repaired, get it replaced.
See, it just sounds like a tremendous amount of money, which it is a tremendous amount of money, but the process of getting that money from point A to point Z over here, it's just a long drawn out process to see what we're going to end up coming out with.
Correct.
Which is very concerning, considering we're a poor county to start with, but I see what that is, but it sure, it sounds pretty iffy, said that.
Well, we sit and look at the numbers every day, and I wear him out, and he wears Laurel out, making sure. Now, Jim, I want to know, yes, and then Jim, I want to let me call Laurel, and then Laurel calls Jim back, and then it comes, yes, and then Crystal goes, Myron, we want to make sure that this is absolutely the best way that this can work, and it's the cheapest on all of us. For everyone involved, which is everybody that pays tax in LA County. But if we could potentially replace those 3 water crossings for that kind of money, that anyone in business can't run from that. I wouldn't recommend that you run from it. Even though, yes, you fall back on the work for county, but if we can get this for $500,000, the total package, $500,000 or less, it's a win-win to me.
That $1,029, and that's what the hazard mitigation comes to, $1,029,000. It will cost us literally just a touch over $130,000. 13% is what we're going to be paying. So when we think about those kind of numbers and the opportunity we have in front of us, and also there's 5 emergency sirens going to be spread out through the county, included in that. Emergency weather sirens, so tornado sirens, basically.
Do you know when it will be, when we can get the end total?
For the ice storm, it should be, I would say in the next 2 weeks, we'll know that number will be in the final. The other issue that's at hand, if we don't have a way to pay the ice storm contractors, there's a reimbursement cycle at KYM. So we would submit the $50,000 in force count labor and equipment that we've completed, then have to wait for them to reimburse $50,000. And then we could pay, the contractor $45,000 or whatever we get, minus our local share. And then we would have to wait another 6 weeks for that reimbursement cycle. And so if we go on a payment plan to the debris contractors, it's no kidding, over 5 years, if we're just doing based on what we can immediately get paid on from the county's equipment and the labor that you've already paid. And then that's just not, it's just untenable, really. Like it's not, that's just not gonna work. I mean, just the administrative burden, but then also to get the
contractors to agree, like, they may or may not want to be paid sooner than 5 years from now.
I would assume they would.
Right.
And I'm
Since I'm one of them,
I did, and I attached it here, I emailed it to you all too, a copy of our debt schedule. That way you can see all of the county's debt, what is due, what's due this fiscal year, what's due at the end. Because that's something I would want to look at too.
Where's that at, Crystal?
It's in,
She emailed to us, that's the last one we got, everything.
it's the second clause.
Oh, over here? On the packet?
No,
Yeah, in the packet.
no, you're talking about two different packets. I think that's right, correct, toward the end of that, I believe.
This one?
I'm not sure.
The one that the email.
Yeah, there's.
Okay, here's liabilities.
So,
I'm pretty sure that motion died. Could I get that motion again, please?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Emily, second by Brian. Is there any further discussion? With that said, all in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. All right, approve the agreement and resolution for B. Wagner Bridge project. That's right fork and middle fourth. And then the bridge is falling into the creek. And we would like to get it repaired, and the state of Kentucky has already approved the money for us.
motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Charles, and a second by Emily. Is there any further discussion? That said, all in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Number 8, approve both resolutions to proceed with Saggers Branch contingent on approval of bidder's package. I found out a little while ago the Division of Water has approved the Saggers Branch water upgrade. It was approved today. It will be released tomorrow, and we are ready to proceed as long as the construction, as long as the contractor has his bond ready. And he did not have his bond ready as of yesterday. He does have the material, less than 2 weeks out. He's being told from his supplier. So potentially he could begin this water project, which he thinks can be done in 3 days in the next 2 weeks. But he just needs to get his bond appropriations ready. The Division of Water has approved that effective today.
Make a motion?
Second.
A motion by Dewey, a second by Pam. Is there any further discussion? Like I said, all in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Let's have it. Communications from other county officers, acknowledge monthly reports.
We'll pay the bills first,
Did I miss something?
Pay the bill.
Oh, we gotta pay bills. Consideration of bills and transfer, approved, paid, none paid bills. I apologize.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion by Chris, the second by Emily. Is there any further discussion? That said, all in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Have it. Number 2, approve inter-fund budget transfers.
Motion to approve transfers.
Second.
Motion by Charles, the second by Brian.
Yeah.
Is there any further discussion? That said, all in favor, signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Number 3, approve the purchase of printer from American Business Systems for the library. Now, let me explain this to you. The library is getting $29,000 through a grant. They don't have, at all times, the money in their account to support these purchases. I have offered our services to front the money for them. What they will do is take the receipt of payment, because the payment will be billed to the public library, and we will pay the bill, then they will write us a check back once Frankfurt, the grant, comes through. And it basically, the money is passing through us to get to the printer company, and then they're going to pay us back once that money comes back to the library.
Make a motion.
Okay.
So a motion by Dewey, the second by Emily. Is there any further discussion?
Do you know how long it's going to take for that grant to get back?
I don't think long.
I talked to Ann about it, she told me about it, and she said that, yeah, it would be a few weeks. I think it's already.
It's not long as I can answer. I'm thinking several weeks, but they've got 29,000 in there. I saw the letter, the approval letter.
Okay.
Ain't legally worth grant money like that? I mean, I thought they would have had to have the receipt.
we're gonna pay for it.
Yeah.
The receipt, the bill is going to be to them.
Okay.
They'll turn in the bill as paid in full, then they will receive their money back, and then they will write us a check for what we did for them.
So do we have to approve them, that once they receive their money, it passes through the fiscal court, and we have to approve them get the money back?
Well, they're their own board. So they will approve to write us a check, and they'll write the fiscal court a check.
So their money then won't come through the fiscal court?
Yeah, the original grant will.
So we have to
No, the
approve.
grant will be to them.
Yeah, that's all.
They're their own,
We're just fronting the money for it.
Exactly, the money is passing through us, and then it's going to come back to us.
They're gonna have to pay in full to get the grant, but the money to come back from the grant.
Well, it's as they spend it. It's $29,000, so what they'll do is this receipt will be turned in, or this invoice will be turned in as paid. The state will then cut them a check, then they can in turn turn around and cut us a check reimbursing us. They don't have that kind of money in their account.
Right.
So,
It sounds like the same thing if I would say, buy me dinner, and you bought it, then I pay you back.
correct.
Pretty much.
That's what we're
That
doing.
ain't gonna happen, you ain't gonna pay me back.
Nice hot dog. So we have a motion to second.
Yeah.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye, please. Ayes have it. I've got one more thing here, Robin. If you would take a minute and explain to them the good news that we want to share about what's going to happen to 911 dispatch moving forward here, hopefully this fall.
I had my audit as far as the 911 service board come in on the 30th, and they brought the application. They went through each step. I had a few corrections to make. I sent them in. Hopefully within the next 6 to 8 weeks, we will be getting money from the 911 service board. It's been a long process, but it's been well worth it. We did really, really well, I think, on the audit. There was very few things that I had to change, and everybody from the 911 service board was extremely helpful. So hopefully we'll be getting a large pot of money, and then there's a smaller pot of money that I'm working on right now, getting the percentage of the addresses and everything. I've already worked with Carter County today. I'll be working with Brown County and then Morgan County, and then we'll even get another little smaller percent of money.
Like money.
Well, I want to impose on you the extreme hard work she had to go through, because in doing this process, I've been around 2.5 years, she got knocked down a half dozen times or more. Well, this didn't work, start over. This didn't work, start over. This didn't work, start over. So I can see where your frustration and the want to just walk away from something can happen, but she stayed with it. And Jim was a monster help too. We kept hammering it out and replying to the emails, the phone calls, and the meetings, and it's happening. So your 911 dispatchers are going to start getting their own funding source effective really quick. So just thank you, bro. Thank you.
Well, no, it takes a village. It takes all of us, everybody. Because Jim was a big help. I mean, I asked a few questions. I asked help from everybody. It takes a village for our little small county. We all work together, and things move forward.
I wanted her to be able to share that with you all.
I love it.
One of the news. Okay, communications from other offices.
On the cash receipts there, on the occupational things, I see a couple there, and is it all, I mean, like, I don't see the person's occupational tax. You don't see the person's occupational tax on there?
That shows what was collected in the last month. Now, the majority of those would be collected in July, or June, the quarter.
Yeah, they have one report.
Absolutely.
It's in pots, big pots.
And so that report is, from 8/16 from the last meeting to, yesterday, I run this report.
I make a motion to acknowledge.
Second.
A motion from Emily, a second from Julie. Is there any further discussion? That said, all in favor, signify by saying aye, please. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Motion goes House.
Well, is there anything further to be brought before the court? Robin?
I just wanted, I had sent Fiscal like the 911 packet. I put some graphs in there. I get monthly graphs now of the telephone calls that is received. And I wanted you all to see with the 911 calls, 3/4 of them are cell phone calls.
Yeah.
The landlines have went down. You'll be able to see from those graphs when we're busier, how many calls is taken in, the inbound calls compared to the outbound calls. I just wanted you to see that there's a lot of calls that go through up there. And the graphs give you a visual kind of what happens.
Right, on Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesdays for some reason.
Yeah, I was looking at that Tuesday thing, they had a big spike.
Yeah.
Must have been a full moon.
Sobered up.
If you keep them over a year and go back and look, like, a lot of people think holidays can be busy, but a lot of the times the holidays are sometimes the easiest.
Why?
Sometimes they're not all the time, but you can compare, just, and kind of gauge when you have to work. More people than others, but it's just, I thought the graph was really nice for you all just to see how many calls come in.
Thank you. And as an old retail guy, you put your labor where your sales are, and you figure out when your best resources need to be on deck. This will help you manage that as well. Not necessarily in that regard, but it will let you know when this, from a scheduling perspective.
Well, and it does.
All your group are outstanding. This is one from a place where you might have 100 employees.
I want to tell you something I saw happen, and I actually saw this happen. I saw a girl lay her phone down and she walked away. And he dialed 911. Nobody around. How could that happen? But it did. Here's the land here to Brian there from anyone. And then I guess they call back like they should do. They call back and when actually David looked over and seen the call manager. They said, oh, it's an accident. They didn't know anything about it. Somehow they did it.
Some people can shake their phone and it'll dial 911. They had people working at the high school up on the roof the last couple of weeks. We got multiple cell phone calls. We call them butt dials, and that's what it was. They had no idea. You could hear them conversating and everything. We pinged them right to the roof.
I've had that happen to me before whenever I had my watch on. I done it through my watch device.
That or maybe Siri, but I think that one's out there.
I don't know, but I saw that happen and nowhere around the phone. It dialed us and went, because they called back.
Is there anything else we brought before the court?
I know last month we had a lengthy conversation about the fire hydrant and stuff. That's coming through the American Rescue Plan. On 515, we're talking about drinking water or other water infrastructure. Would we qualify under that?
That would be a question for a resolution.
I was noticing.
And I would be all for it.
I just wanted to ask, I seen that, I'm kind of curious.
Because we're still wanting that out by Fairview Church and at Plains Trace.
I'd be taking to one of their state route out there.
73 needs one.
Yes, and what, out toward 7-Eleven, somewhere out there.
Yeah, right
I
around
mean, look across, like, on every state route.
Let us look into that. Again, this is empty stages, right? When we do our special meetings, we may break that. Anything else? Motion to adjourn. Do it. Second by Pam. Thank you all for your efforts.